Hi everyone, Linda from Let's Talk Prepping. And let's talk tonight about the death of privacy, how we're losing all the privacy that we ever had. And it's been gradual. And we know just by looking around us at the people who don't even care. They bring in, Amazon Alexas. They bring in smart TVs that can listen to them and watch them, refrigerators that are connected to the Internet of Things. All of these things these people are bringing into their homes. But there's more to the death of privacy than just these types of things. The government is trying to take over. So let's look at just a couple of quick articles, and then I have one good thing at the end that I think you'll be happy to see. We're over here at internationalman.com, and it's Doug Casey's International Man, and Doug Casey on the death of privacy and what comes next. Now, I want you, as we're looking at all of these articles, to see how can I prep, how can I prepare so that I still have some privacy and the government just doesn't take over and know all of my business. So think about that as we go through some of this. And he says in every country, the allowable limit for cash withdrawals and transactions continues to be lowered. Governments will probably mandate central bank digital currencies as a solution when the next real or contrived crisis hits, which is likely not far off. And we know all this about the digital currencies. And it says, what are the implications for financial privacy? Well, you will have no privacy whatsoever if they implement the digital currency. It says they'll be able to add to the accounts of favored people and subtract from or block access to the accounts of those who aren't. And we know that even now, people who have donated to the January 6 people, the Justice Department is trying to take that money so that the January 6 people won't get any of it. So already the government is trying to take our money. And it says digital dollars are going to be easy to implement because everybody has a Social Security account and using a smartphone. And they're going to have health passports eventually. And when we get to another article, you're going to know that they're going to have them worldwide, not just here in the U.S. It is not just financial privacy, but privacy across the board that is being buried. And the cell phones and the smart appliances and the electric vehicles and the social media and all other electronic devices create an all-encompassing surveillance system that most people voluntarily opt into. And then our good friend Klaus Schwab of the World Economic Forum said that everything will be transparent. So that's what he wants. But don't worry, you have nothing to fear, he said, if you do nothing wrong. And we know that's not true. And he says, I wonder if Schwab would be willing to have cameras observe him. One of the differences between a civilized society and a primitive barbaric society is privacy. And he says people have been programmed not to take privacy seriously. Worse, they're now suspicious of it and passively accept the fact that it doesn't exist. And in China, the social credit system, everything you do, everywhere you go, and even everything you say is recorded and reported. And we're going to get our own version here. So this is an interesting article by Doug Casey. And then if we go over here to the All News Pipeline, how the cult of woke is being used to transform America into a Marxist totalitarian state, destroying everything good our country once stood for while crushing the American people. So that's an interesting article from All News Pipeline. And the discernreport.com, are the WHO climate lockdowns coming? And the proposed amendments to the international health regulations, this new pandemic treaty, Both incorporate One Health approach. The scheme will give the World Health Organization the power to initiate climate lockdowns. And you know they want to lock us down no matter whatever way they can. So they want to centralize power and control, and that's the goal of all masters everywhere. Once that central power has been achieved, then similar measures that were imposed in response to the pandemic can be used for climate change and anything else that might happen. And the WHO director will be able to forcibly control where and when humans all over the globe are allowed to leave their residences. Until people stop believing in the myth of power and authority, this could be all of mankind's future. And they say basically the World Health Organization is now being funded by Bill and Melinda Gates and private institutions. And the pandemic treaty will not only be concerned with pandemics, it will introduce globally the One Health ideology. It recognizes the interdependence of human and animal health. So this One Health agenda, WHO will have the power to make decisions in matters relating to the environment, including greenhouse gas emissions, pollution, and deforestation, animal health, livestock, human health, and part of that is population movement. And with these extended powers, the WHO could readily declare a climate or environmental emergency and enforce lockdowns. And then if we look here from reclaimthenet.org, WHO Group co-chair calls for prioritizing actions that may restrict individual liberties. Again, privacy and everything else. So they want to increase the WHO powers, and they took a power grab a step further by urging members to prioritize actions that may restrict individual liberties. And one of the powers would be they could target misinformation, increase its surveillance powers, and push global vaccine passports. And he suggested that individual liberties should be curtailed by this unelected health agency. And I didn't know this, but the WHO has partnered with YouTube, Facebook, and Wikipedia and had a direct impact on speech rules on those platforms. And Google renewed its partnership with the WHO last month. And they're pushing for even more power. And it says both instruments are legally binding under international law. So our Constitution would mean nothing anymore if that's the case. From the Federalists, to address the loneliness epidemic, the Fed wants to control your town and friends. So I don't know if you've heard this before. So the project is potentially so massive in scope, it's not an overstatement to say it threatens to regulate our freedom of association in shocking ways. And he goes through here and tells you what they want to do, what their 5 pillars are. And you can go through and read that. If you get on here, you can read, the second reason for skepticism is history, which is filled with examples of governments invading the private sphere of life, specifically the institutions of family, faith, and community. So the private sphere is the most decentralized area of life, the one in which individuals are most able to think and speak freely unless the government invades. And it says China and Russia and Nazi Germany are prime examples of the 20th century government invading the private sphere. And he calls it the Ministry of Loneliness. And recent history has warned us about such projects. The goals may seem unobjectable, but the concern is about who decides how we connect socially. And you do know they'll try to ban churches. Even though they talk about loneliness, they wouldn't want you to go to a church. And DCClothesline.com U.S. government says it owns everyone's thoughts, calling it cognitive infrastructure. And this is an interesting article you might want to look at. And then one good thing here is this was the conservativeplaybook.com. This beef company CEO said, "I'll shut down the company before we ship a single bag with mRNA injected meat." I thought that was pretty good, that they're going to shut the company down before they ship a single bag of injected meat. And it said this is whole cows. So I thought, boy, I'd love to support whole cows. So I went over here to Whole Cows, and it's wholecows.com. And I'd really love to support them when they have high quality cooked and freeze dried beef cubes shipped to your door. But then look at the price here. $150, $170, $190, $105. And it's not that you get a lot in these, it's just this single package. So each package contains 12 ounces and can be rehydrated to 48 ounces, offering 12 adult serving sizes per bag. So divide 12 into 105, and you're talking over almost $10, $9 per serving, which, it's just $105 seems like a lot. And it's too bad because I'd really love to support this company in some way. I mean, these are even more expensive, $580. And it does sound like it is very good beef here. Our cows have never and will never receive mRNA vaccines. So that was something good. But what I really want you to do is think about your privacy. Think about how the government is trying to invade your privacy and take over your life. And what you as a prepper can do, maybe to start prepping now so that they can't get into your privacy. Maybe you can let people know at your local church that this is happening and try to protect the privacy so you can speak freely at church meetings. There's got to be something that we can do, if not to stop this in its tracks, which would be very hard probably now to do as individuals. Maybe as groups we could do it. But if not, but then to protect your own privacy. So think about it. Please leave a comment down below. Let us know what you think. And thanks for watching. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe.